It's not often here in Ireland that you can say you can buy a car for less than 13 grand. And since this car was first launched, the new version of the Sandero in the Irish market, the budget has increased, well, pretty much every car ever so slightly, but it has to be the cheapest, if not one of the very cheapest cars you can buy new in the market here in Ireland today. Now, it is no frills. If you like windy up windows at the back, aircon that when you press the button you can feel the engine just drain a little bit, a small 65 brake horsepower engine. If none of those things are a concern to you, then you're going to love it. There's even little manual handle things for adjusting the mirrors. I haven't seen them since, I don't know, 1999 or so. Over the front we have a different style grille, just slightly, ever so slightly changed. But like LED lights on a car for this price, where else would you get it? That is impressive. You've got to think of the likes of a Polo, maybe a Clio, or an Opel Corsa for the size of boot that's back here. And it is quite deep, so there is a significant lip. But they do throw in a couple of shopping hooks, tethering hooks. Again, very functional, really light, so it's an easy car to live with if maybe you're a retired person or a slightly older person, and the boot is not particularly heavy to close, so there's a bonus there. Also, hands up if you've ever rented a car on holidays and it's been some form of Dacia. So remember, they've got us through great times in the sun, whether it's a Logan or a Sandero or a Stepway. And what's the back like if you're not on holidays? Legroom is reasonable, it's not massive. Yes, there are windy up and down windows, if you don't believe me. See, look at that. And there's nothing back here to charge anything, but the head height is good and the overall space is not bad actually for such a small compact car. I have sat in less supportive seats, I don't mind telling you. The armrest, just, it's one size, one angle. You've got an area for cups, a manual handbrake, 5-speed manual gearbox, plenty of storage down here for things. And your phone cable is very important. First of all, they put it up here, and the reason they have is because it's nicely beside the media control door, which actually turns your Dacia into a very modern car infotainment system, depending on what phone you have, because it's the phone that sits in here and provides your nav, your tunes, your Spotify. And there is a radio tuner, but it's in the dashboard. So you get into this car looking for the radio going, huh? What's the story with that? You can also hook up your tunes through that cable, and I mean, it's very, very primitive, but it does everything through the phone. Cruise control buttons are on the steering wheel, not down here anymore. Everything, of course, is hard plastic, but have you heard the price? Some manual controls for aircon, and it's warm whenever you need it to be also. And like, there really is nothing to complain about if you totally turn off the fact that you've ever sat in anything a bit more luxurious. You can hear the 3-cylinder engine under any sort of acceleration, and that low down, slower moving traffic, it's never really going to be an issue. The only real time look, it's not the biggest engine output in the world, but you know, for driving around town, going to the shops, all that kind of normal stuff on a daily basis, no bother to it. And I've driven this car quite a decent distance this week and gone to a couple of car launches and stuff like that in Kildare, so I was sitting on motorways, and like, it's absolutely fine. It won't get to 120 kilometers an hour that quickly, but when it's there, it's happily sitting there and you don't even hear the engine ticking over. No matter how hard I drive this car, it is delivering sort of 5.7, 5.9 litres per 100 kilometres. So it's really, really easy on juice. And I think the full tank was like 700 kilometres or something in the range from a petrol. And it's kind of sticking to that. It's a car of its word. Gearbox is actually very, very direct. Not notchy, not sloppy. I can't fault it. It's definitely missing some of the safety aids you might get in a modern car these days, like frontal collision avoidance. That's always handy to have. There's no cameras, no sensors. You are on your own when you're reversing this car, and blind spot and things like that. You know, for the price, you're just not going to get that. You can spec them up. Certainly the Sandero Stepway, the new version of that car, I think that's a real gem of a car. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but you really don't feel like you're in a budget car in the new Stepway, whereas in this, there are constant reminders that you're in something very, very cheap and very, very cheerful. And the other bonus, because you associate cars like this with going on holidays, every time you get into your Sandero, you're going to feel like you're in Spain. I mean, what other car delivers that sense of nostalgia every time you get behind the wheel of it for the price? Oh, and did I mention the fact that they have a little hook on the side of the center console that pops down and can hold a bin, a handbag, or anything with straps on it? Anyway, yes, it struggles to go up hills and overtake. It's a bit noisy. It's very, very basic. But the fact that you can produce a car and sell it in Ireland, where we have one of the most expensive taxation systems in the world when it comes to cars, and they can deliver something that's perfectly usable for the price, just don't expect any frills. And you and the new Sandero will get on just perfectly. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, and hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I didn't beg, but it would be nice. Thanks.